Good morning, children. I hope you all are safe and fine. So, in previous class, we have discussed about the water and availability of water and states of water, that is solids, liquids, and gases. Availability of water, that is available in surface water and underground water. In surface water, fresh water and saline water, and in underground water, wells and springs. So, today we will discuss about the water cycle. What is a water cycle? What is a water cycle? So here the water cycle, the three states of water can be interconverted from ice to liquid, ice to water, water to water vapor by changing the conditions such as heating or cooling. The interconversion of states of water occur in nature by the by and represented with water cycle. That means the conversion of water either to solids or to gases by cooling or heating. Then that process is called water cycle. The continuous circulation of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere, from the atmosphere back to the earth is called water cycle. So once again I'm explaining, the continuous circulation of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere and from the atmosphere back to the earth is called water cycle. That means here the water that is present on the earth's surface by the evaporation process, it changes to vapors, and after moving to a certain distance in the air, then it cools down and forms as a clouds. Again it falls as a rain. Then this total process is called water cycle. So children, so here this is the figure. This is called as water cycle or cycling of water. So here this water, when it is heating, the heating process is called as evaporation, and this water, this after heating, these vapors goes to a certain extent, again cools down. This gaseous water cools down and forms as clouds. So this cooling down of water vapor to water is called condensation. Through condensation, again it falls, through condensation it changes to water and falls as rain. So children, this is the process here. This is the water cycle. So here see. So when the rain falls, then rivers are formed and snow is present. All this, the water that is present due to sun's rays, whatever the water that is present on the surface of the earth, it will evaporate, and this water vapor moves with the help of a wind, and after moving to a certain distance, this water vapor changes to water and forms as a clouds or a snow. Then when the temperature is becoming less or low, then automatically this water will fall as rain. When the rain, the water will seep into the ground or the earth. That is called, the water that is present underground the earth is called underground water, and that is present on the surface of the earth. These are the surface water is rivers and seas or lakes. This is the water cycle. How this is a continuous process, because due to sun's rays, the water is going to evaporate it, and it is changes to water or forms as a clouds. Then again it falls as a rain. It is going to be a continuous process. It won't change. So hence this is called water cycle. The continuous circulation of water from the earth's surface to the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere to the earth's surface is called water cycle. So see children here, sun's rays. Okay, this is water cycle. It is a continuous process. So due to sun's rays, the water is evaporated from the oceans and seas, and it forms as snow or the clouds. Then it will be a cycle. Water to water again. See, first water, if rain is falling as a rain is a water, then it evaporates, it changes to vapor. Then again it cools down. Then again it forms as a water and falls as a rain. So this is called water cycle. So here the water cycle describes the existence and the movement of water on, in and above the earth. Earth's water is always in movement and always changing the states from liquid to vapor to ice and back again. That means here, due to the sun's heat, this water vapor is changes to, this water is changes to vapor, again cools down and forms as ice, that is snow or the clouds. Then again it falls as rain as water. So the water cycle has been working for billions of years and lives on the earth depends on it continuing to work. The earth would be pretty stale place to live without it. That means without water and without water cycle on the earth, nothing is going to be alive. So children, this is about the water cycle. So in water cycle, we are going to come across this evaporation. The evaporation means the process of conversion of water to water vapor by the process of heating is called evaporation. So here I am saying the process of conversion of or turning, both are changing of water to water vapor by heating is called evaporation. So here the water is will be evaporated from water bodies such as lakes, rivers, streams, and so on due to sun's heat, and it is changes to vapor. This process is called evaporation. This vapor joins the atmosphere continuously as a slow process. That means these vapors are going to be joining the atmosphere as water vapors as a slow process. Not only from these, even from the plants. So from plants, that is from the leaves. See, the early morning you will see some water droplets on these leaves. Okay, that means the water that is observed from the roots is going to be absorbed by the leaves, and this process is called transpiration. The process of taking out the water from the roots to the leaves is called transpiration. The water droplets that are going to present on the leaves, and when the sun's rays falls on the leaves, automatically whatever the water that is present on the leaves will be evaporating slowly. Okay, again this water vapor is going to mix with the water in the atmosphere, and slowly it will converts to the clouds. Next is formation of clouds. How the clouds are formed? The water vapor moves up and undergoes cooling. That means whatever the water vapor that is present in the atmosphere, it moves up because it is heat. Due to heat only, the water is changing, and the water vapor contains some heat. When it is moving high, automatically this water vapor loses its temperature, and after moving to a certain height, it undergoes cooling, and then by the condensation, the clouds are formed. Many tiny droplets of water in the clouds come together to form larger drops which are heavier and falls as rain. That means what are all the droplets that are going to be present in one place, and all these water droplets comes closer to each other, and when these all comes closer, then it forms as larger drops which are heavier, and these heavier drops falls as rain. So children, the next is condensation. The process by which water vapor converts to water on cooling is called condensation. The process by which the water vapor cools or turns or changes to water by cooling is called condensation. Live example, children, I'm saying, you take cool water in a glass. Okay, place it outside for 2 to 3 minutes. After some time, you will see some water droplets that are sticking to the sticking to the glass. Where this water came? Is the water comes out of the glass? No. In atmosphere, water vapor is present. When the water vapor touches this cool glass, automatically this water vapor changes to water. This process is called condensation. This process is called condensation. So your excessive cooling of water vapor results in snow or hail. That means, see, if the water vapor that is present in the atmosphere moves high, there, if certain amount, if it is changes to water, then it is going to be falls as rain. If that water is again cooling and the water is moving up and again it's cooling, and it falls as a snow or hail. This is called as snow in winter season, we'll see, and this is the hail. In summer season, we are going to see some white color. At the time of rain, we will see white color stones are falling. Those are called hail. Next is the water vapor that falls on the land as rain and snow again undergoes circulation. See, rainwater again it falls as surface of water, the joins in rivers and oceans. And if the water falls on the soil or on the surface of the earth, it goes deep into the earth surface, and that soil is, so here they again that water is divided into two types. One is soil water and one is underground water or groundwater. Soil water, that is going to present that this soil water is used by the plants to survive, whereas this groundwater we will take by digging the wells or bore wells for the consumption purpose or for the domestic purpose. Next is interconversion of state of water. The water is going to be converted to different states. So in that first one is when ice is subjected to heating. That means when the ice, if you are taking an ice cube from the deep freezer and keeping outside at 0 degrees, automatically it changes to water. It changes to water. There is no change in the but when you are seeing the temperature, automatically the temperature will be 0. The heat is utilized in changing of ice to water. That means your ice temperature won't changes, and whatever the water formed there also it won't changes. Okay. So this heat is called latent heat. We'll speak about the latent heat in upcoming class. It is stored in the water in the form of latent heat. Latent heat means hidden heat. The heat won't be seen, or the heat, see the temperature won't be changes here. Either it may be increased or it may be decreased. It will shows exactly 0 degrees, but heat is going to present. That heat is called latent heat. Latent means hidden, not seen and not calculated and not shown whether the increase in temperature or decreasing in temperature. See, children, here see ice, when you are keeping it outside or when you are placing it in the glass. So after 2 to 3 minutes, then it changes to water. If you see the temperature here, this water temperature is also 0 degrees and this ice also same 0 degrees, but ice is converting to water. So the main reason is to convert ice to water is latent heat. Latent heat, that is hidden heat. What is latent heat? The conversion of solid from liquid or liquid to a vapor is called latent heat. Again, here two types are there. So here latent heat of fusion. Latent heat of fusion means the amount of heat required. The amount of heat required to change 1 gram of solid, that is ice, to liquid, that is water, without any change in the temperature of its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. If I am taking 1 gram of solid, that is ice cube, and I am placing it in a glass. Okay, children? Then you see the temperature with thermometer, ice temperature is 0, and after the total ice is melted, if you see the water temperature is also 0, but it is converting from solid to liquid without changing temperature. So by this we can say that the melting point of ice is 0 degrees, and the heat that is present inside and it is not affecting on the change is called latent heat of fusion. Once again I am saying the definition. The amount of heat required to change 1 gram of solid or ice to liquid water without any change in temperature of its melting point is called latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of fusion, see children here, I am heating it. That means the heating won't come seen through by our naked eyes. It is only a chemical process. For ice, the value of latent heat of fusion is 80 calories per gram. That means your latent heat is measured with calories per gram or joules per kg. So here I am taking grams, so it will be calories. Heat is measured always in calories or kilocalories or joules. So that means here the value of ice, latent heat of fusion, that means to change ice to water. So I need 80 calories of heat, not 100 calories, 80 calories of heat per 1 gram. At 0 degrees, water can exist either in solid state or in liquid state. So if the increase in the temperature of a liquid depends on the specific heat of a liquid, that means So here, if the temperature is increased, automatically it is going to be depending on the specific heat. The specific heat means the amount of heat required, or the amount of heat required to raise 1 degree Celsius temperature by to 1 gram. Then that is called specific heat. See, a specific heat, that means I'm placing ice there to raise one degree. I'm taking 1 gram of ice and I'm placing it in a beaker. I'm heating it. Example, 0 degrees is there. If from 0 degrees to 1 degree, I want to raise the temperature, then slowly I'm going to supply the heat. When the temperature reaches to 1 degree Celsius, then that heat capacity is called specific heat capacity. So here the definition is the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of substance by 1 degree Celsius is called specific heat capacity. So the specific heat capacity is measured in calories per gram degree Celsius. Calories per gram degree Celsius. So here the specific heat of water is highest of all the liquids. What are the liquids are taking? The specific heat of water is highest. And the specific heat capacity of water is 1 calorie per gram per degree Celsius. Specific heat of ice is 0.5 grams per degree, 0.5 grams calories per gram per degree. That means 0.5 calories is needed to raise 1 gram of ice to 1 degree Celsius. The specific heat of steam is 0.48 calories per gram per Celsius. That means 0.48 calories are needed to raise 1 gram up to 1 degree Celsius. The next is latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat of vaporization means here, example children, I'm taking water. Okay, we already know the boiling point of water. Boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Okay, when the temperature reaches to 100 degrees Celsius, slowly it changes to vapors. If you see the vapor temperature, that is also same 100 degrees Celsius, and if you see the boiling water temperature, also 100 degrees Celsius, but it is converting. Okay, that is also due to the latent heat. That heat is not seen. So this process is called latent heat of vaporization. The amount of heat required to convert 1 gram of water into steam without any change in its temperature of its boiling point is called latent heat of vaporization. See, when it changes from water to water vapor, then that is called latent heat of vaporization. If it is changing from ice to water, then that is called latent heat of fusion. So latent heat of vaporization of water is 540 calories per gram. That means I need to change 1 gram of water, and to increase 1 degree Celsius, I need 540 calories. So children, this is about the latent heat of vaporization and latent heat of fusion and latent heat and specific heat capacity. So let's summarize what we have learned in this class. That is, one is water cycle. Water cycle means the continuous circulation of water from the earth's surface to our atmosphere and from the atmosphere back to the earth. The next is interconversion of water. In that interconversion of water, we have seen latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, specific heat capacity. Children, in next class, we will discuss about the physical properties of water and some other. Thank you and have a nice day.